helps because it prevents your trees from being placed on steep steep areas. Okay, so when you've done that, what's up, guys? Mm, how my friends doing? All right, so in today's video, we're going to be covering microsplat, envirosky, and adding of trees to the terrain. If we have time, I also going to adding of rocks as well. Okay, before we begin, I would like to say a few things just for you guys to know. All right, for those of you that are really interested in terrain editing and all, you have to take it very serious. You have to, this is the minimum, this is the minimum of what you can do in terrain editing. You have to make your terrain stand out in the market. If you want to actually sell a good terrain, make it stand out. Build, you don't really have to put buildings into it. You could make it just an empty environment, but make it realistic. This isn't realistic to me. I can't use this for my game. But it depends. I could come up with post processing, come up with good fog system, hide most of the ridiculous details on my terrain and make it look realistic. So those of you that are going to be going into this that wants to focus on terrain editing part of Unity alone, I would like you guys to subscribe to the channel as well and stick to it, because after this tutorial, after this whole tutorial class is over, I'll be starting a short character creator, a short third person shooter character setup for some people that have been asking for that, and then we'll head back into serious terrain editing. Okay, we will make serious HD realistic terrains that might actually make a system lag. Alright, without wasting much time, let's begin. First thing I want you guys to do is to click on your mapmagic. Alright, and well, you guys that already have the project, if you have the project, just search nature. We need it for the tree. Alright, nature renderer. Okay, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. Just go into terrain properties and click copy components to terrain. Alright, so we should see it inside terrain. We should see it somewhere around, like here it is. Alright, that's done. Let's add microsplat now. Microsplat terrain. Alright, this is going to be set up soon. For now, check enviro, because that's the weather system you're going to be using. Then I would like you to come over to game object, create enviro, assets, create enviro. Alright, and yeah, envirosky manager. Alright, so what I want you to do now is to activate. First of all, check what render system you're using. Alright, you're using universal. Okay, let me check something first. Universal. Alright. Okay, let's change. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. Alright, so activate is already set to universal render pipeline for you guys. You guys don't have to worry about that. Everything's already set for those of you that have the project. But for those of you that don't have the project and have the assets, I'm going to be dropping envirosky manager in this project as well. So since we used it, so you first of all activate your universal render pipeline. After that, you're going to activate your standard version. Okay, first of all, create it standard. If you're using a low end system, you can create lit, the light version. All right, so Once that is done, you wow, this is a lot of once that is done, activate it. All right, that's done. Now let's go to you can leave this auto assign or just let's leave it alone. All right, third party. Okay, activate area to support. Activate this. Okay. All right, so that is done. Shaders. All right, microsplat. I want you guys to look at this microsplat. Look at it well, not megasplat. Activate your microsplat on this compiling. When it's done with that, we'll head to the next step. All right, that's done. Okay, it's still loading. So as it's doing that, I want you to check. All right, and then convert to microsplat. All right. So okay, now that we've included our microsplat and have converted our terrain to microsplat texture, all right. Wow, you could come over here. You could come over here and click to get the material of the microsplat. Then when you're here, first of all, you should come over here to this microsplat config and configure it the way you like. Want it basic or baby array, you choose. Want it quality over fastest, you choose. Specular or metallic, you choose. Whatever it is, you choose. You don't have to worry about this. Don't touch anything here. If you're not familiar with it, don't touch anything here. And when you're done, you click update and you come all the way to microsplat. All right. So when you're microsplat, you from the top, you start to edit things the way you want. Okay, guys, I'll leave that to you. Be as creative as possible. You could check for tutorials concerning microsplat, but that's not going to be part of my tutorial. I won't be able to cover microsplat teaching for you because that's a whole new tutorial on its own. For those of you that have a creative mind, have a good system, and patient to wait, you could test out all these features. Know which one works best for you. I kind of got lost in testing out most of these features, and from good looking terrain to terrible now. I don't like it anymore. So now that that is done and our envirosky has been done, the next task now is to add trees to our terrain. Trees to the terrain. So okay, so let me see. Okay, all right. Here's to the terrain. Mapmagic. All right. Okay. So I want you to scroll up. Yeah, scroll up. We already have our, like we had earlier, the previous tutorial. We already have our portal. All right. So first thing first, the portal of the map. Portal exists. Okay. Terrain. Okay. And after that, I want you to what's going on here? All right. So after that, I want you to now add objects. Okay. Initial. Let's use scatter. All right. Scatter. Then adding modifiers, adjust. Okay, then we're going to be adding the object at this output trays. We'll get to objects later. For now, it's just trees. Okay, this is pretty much the simplest way. Well, to make it look more, make it, well, let's do it this way. Let's just do it this way for now. Alright, so, okay, we need one more. Let's add one more component. Let's add something to multiply these trees. Let's use spread. Multiply the trees to make them more plenty. But for now, I'm going to uncheck it so you guys can see the difference when connected. Alright, so those of you that have the project, what you're going to do is just right click and paint tree. For those of you that don't, well, you can get any tree asset you have, you can use it as well. So type tree and choose the tree you would like to use. For me, I'm going to look for good looking trees, ones that suit my. Alright, no, these are too small. I need something big, something big, something big, something big. Um, no, all these trees are too small. Okay, the oak tree. Oh, broken. That's broken. No, these are not kind of trees I'm looking for. The cartoons. Let's see this. Let me see this tree. Yeah. Alright. So that is done. Let's increase the density to 100. 100. So you leave it load. Yeah. And for those of you that have good systems, this shouldn't be an issue for you. Those of us that don't, is kind of, it takes time for us. Using a low end system to encourage those that have a low end system so that they can do it. Alright, so I'm going to go under properties and multi-click on under properties, multi-prefab. Right. Let's see this. Yeah, multi-prefab. Alright. As it yeah. Add add let's just add 4 for now. Trees. Sorry. Okay. Trees. Uh, hmm, mm-hmm. Then we have yeah, last one. So now that this is done, let's go to the adjustment center. Okay. We want to put this into range so our trees won't all look the same. To do that, the height from 0 to 1 is okay. Rotation from 0 to 360 is okay. The range, let's put it Okay, so that is done. All right, so next up is the spread. I want you to connect the spread to the chart. All right, so we noticed it became multiple. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to, sorry guys, I'm not really feeling well, so okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to be spreading this. Let's spread distance within each other. Increase the distance, increase it as much as possible. You put it there. All right, so okay, let me see. Let's see. Height, height. Let's reduce this height. Minus there, minus 4. Okay, let's reduce it to -1. -1. Maybe more. -2. -2 because the tree is meant to be inside the soil. Then we're getting to where we'll solve the solution of this tree on the mountain. Okay, so alright, that is done. Alright, so what I did was pretty simple. You guys aren't lost at all. You first of all you add the properties, you add multi prefabs, alright. You close that up, then you click this add button to add as many prefabs as you want. Then when you're done with that, you come all this way to this place and you, let me take this off for now. um you come over to this place and you add, all right, well, let me see. This is how the terrain looks like right now. It looks so scattered and so not good. So you come over to this place and you add your slope, okay, and then you adjust this range to something like that looks like this. The meaning of what is from 0 to 10 means is that I want trees only from the range 0 to the angle 10. This helps because it prevents your trees from being placed on steeped areas. Okay, so when you've done that, when you've when you adjusted that, it's going to look more like this. It's coming, it's loading. It's going to look more like this. You're going to have it only on flat surfaces. Alright guys, that's it for this tutorial. We are going to be putting objects in the next tutorial. For those of you that are ready to go ahead of the class, feel free to go ahead of the class. But in the next tutorial, I'm going to be putting objects of several types. And for those of you that have been able to watch this class at the end, I want to tell you guys that you guys should go ahead and put as many trees as you want. You can play with every variables here, play with every asset so you get the right one. Don't just use a this thing. Use a prefab. Don't use a mesh, use a prefab. Prefab that has a collider, because that's going to be an issue if you don't have one. So do that, and soon I'll be teaching you guys how to attain that high looking forest I made for my world 01. Alright, have a nice day guys. Please subscribe to the channel.